Okay. We're going to try this one more time. Welcome to my first Evaaaaa live stream on YouTube. I've had some practice runs, but this is, if it goes well, this will be the first Evaaaaa live stream. I say if it goes well because I did some earlier that I thought were going to be the first Evaaaaa live streams, but they were just practice ones. So anyways, I wanted to update you, my subscribers, the people that are stopping by that have seen my videos before. I wanted to update you because when I used to watch YouTubers in my last couple years, and I subscribed to about 20, when I used to watch them, I would almost grow with them, right? I would learn from their experience. You know, the best experience next to yours is other people's experience. It kind of saves you time, especially if they've gone through a lot of crap and stuff. And you don't have to go through that because you can learn through them. So I would go listen to these YouTubers, and they were pretty consistent. Some were every day, some were twice a week, some were 3 times a week. And then when they would go off for a while, I'd kind of like, it would kind of like mess up my pattern, right? My healing. I'm like, I need to heal. You need to keep broadcasting to me, baby. You need to keep making them videos, baby. So, but I do, and I still have that familiarity too, where I know there's some that broadcast every Sunday. I know there's some that go on every Wednesday. And so, you know, those are like part of my family, right? It's part of my ritual. It's part of my, I don't know, I'm just used to it, right? It's my comfort level. It's my new comfort level, putting good, positive experience into you know, learning, right? Because aren't we all getting degrees? And if you're on YouTube, then you're probably getting a degree in narcopathology, right? I guess that's a good name for it. So, yeah, so so I wanted to just update my peeps. Now, I just wanted to update you guys to let you know that I'm actually doing really well. It's taken quite a while now. For me, the discard was just about 2 years ago, almost to the day, and then yeah, so that was when it was, and of course it was a big shock. I was married for 20 years. I mean, almost 20 years. It wasn't quite 20 years, but later that year it was 20 year. We hit the 20-year mark. Very uneventful. For most people it's like, hey, yeah, you know. But for us it was very uneventful. And so hit the 20-year mark and 2 years. So yeah, I'm doing really good. But I want to let you know, because I haven't broadcasted, I haven't made a video in a couple months, except for one I made earlier today, which is was I think 1 minute and 23 seconds long. It's probably the shortest video I ever made, from a washing machine. That's right. If you haven't seen it, I made it from a washing machine. The Narc's Dirty Laundry. Clever, right? So So yeah, Limitless, you say you were with your narc for almost 20 years too. Yeah, you know, there's something I read about divorces. I don't know if you were married, but I was married to mine. And there's something about when the kids get to be around high school, how a lot of people reevaluate, you know, because they say, well, we're not, you know, if the kids are going to be graduating and going away and stuff, then we don't really need to be together. So I don't know if narcs, if it's a general thing. I'd like to, if there was a study done to find out if there's narcissists involved in those type of relationships, I'd be very curious to see that. It'd be very interesting to learn about that, because I think in a normal, healthy relationship, you kind of already, you have each other's back. You know, you're kind of growing old together, which I always thought that's what we were doing, but apparently I was wrong. I didn't really understand the pathology and all the other things going on. But yeah, narcs can last 20 years, exactly. So now I was good supply. That's a lot of people ask, well, how can you say that, you know, well, how can you be certain that she was problematic, had this problematic behavior? And it really didn't come from me until about the last 3 years of our marriage. At least I didn't notice it. Now, I did notice that compared to other couples, there were some things that we just didn't have, and of course, throughout the last 10 years, if you can relate to me, I thought it was always something that I was doing wrong. Like I wasn't being a good enough husband here. I wasn't doing this right or that right. And so, my self-esteem was, it got kind of pushed down a lot the last 3 years, actually over the last 10 years, but it was so subtle then because we had I was good supply. I had a really good business, and we opened up another business, and she ran that business. And so it was great supply for her because she was in charge, because it was our business. She would work it, and then I worked another business out of the house, and I did a lot of things with the kids. I took them to school and did all that kind of stuff, um, fixed them dinner and stuff. But the last 3 years, when we had to shut down 2 out of 3 of those businesses, the ones that she ran, her supply was gone. And my business that I had out of the house was kind of getting coming to a halt, let's say, because it was making a lot less every year, and so we were kind of in a financial pinch, and that's kind of what happened in our case. And we'd been through this before about 15 years ago, or 15 years prior to that. And I thought, well, we'll just get through this one like we did before. And when you have your own businesses, you could have ups and downs, right? And so we did have that. We had ups and downs. We would make a lot of money one year, and then the next year would make hardly any. But we would always manage to get through it. Well, this last hurrah, if you will, with the businesses, it was a really big one. And so when we had to shut down those businesses, it put us in a different status, let's say, in the world of our peers, right? The Joneses, all that kind of good stuff, right? And so that really, it affected me a little bit, but not. I mean, when it affected her more, and then the blame was put on me, which I'm not saying that I didn't have anything to do with it, but there's a lot of circumstances in business. There's a lot of changes. There was a lot of road construction by our store. There was a lot of factors that went into the demise of our business, and I didn't even work the business. The one that we had to close back about four years ago now, and the business I had out of the house, I still was able to run it, but the other one had more moving parts to it and a lot more sunk cost into it. And so when we had to close that was really a blow, because it was also a statusy business too. It was a brick and mortar store, um, esteemed in the community, um, television commercials, all this kind of stuff, magazine advertisements. And the one I had was like backfilling stuff. Okay, the one I had out of the house was just filling product orders for other companies, right? But it made money. It was pretty solid. It wasn't glamorous or anything. But So that's a little bit about my story. But 20 years, I think if you're good enough, I think if you can keep the supply on schedule and going, then I think it can last. But if you don't have that connection, I don't care who it is. Eventually, if you don't have that connection, it's something better is going to come along. Somebody better is going to be something new and shinier is going to come along to the narcissist, and they're just going to they just go to that. There's not a lot of and what they're worried about too. The reason that I think some of them stay is because they're worried about the statusy thing. What's going to happen to them? How are they going to look? Because how they look, how they present themselves is who they are, because they are a reflection of the people around them. If they can get this person to believe that they're this great person, and they can get this person over here to believe they're this great person, then they've got these people surrounding them thinking that they're great. And the narcissist personality is based on what other people think. So if they think they're great, then they feel great. Then they are great in their minds, right? So, okay, so I'm looking at your comments now. This is my first Evaaaaa live stream on YouTube. I usually do a lot of Facebook Lives, for those of you who know me. Well, see, here's the thing about supply. Limitless Thinker says, new and shiny, but they go for supply, and she was 30 years older and wealthy. Wealthy is supply, right? So a narcissist, it can be uh, money, it can be sex. Uh, there's about 5 other things I just can't think off the top of my head. Yeah, how do you retract a message? I noticed that message was retracted. I think you can just delete a message. But hey guys, we're just working out our first live stream here. So if you're joining me, I was just kind of filling you guys in. And I probably said that in my videos before, but I haven't really got interactive on YouTube. Oh, somebody else just, everybody's retracting their messages. So I think that's like taking the eraser, you know, and just, I just don't want to, I don't want to say that. But, so tell me out there, how are you guys doing? What is going on with you guys? Now, I am actually enjoying myself now. I've been dating, and I'm really quick to drop people like hot potatoes if I find any characteristics that remind me of the ex. I'm learning to identify those red flags, right? And if those red flags come up, boom. And there's no big production. You just basically, it's a boundary. It's asserting boundaries. You just basically just don't call somebody back, or don't make future commitments. Don't text message back and forth. And again, these are like, you know, when you're dating somebody and it's not working out, and just being upfront with people, just saying, you know, hey, it's good. I enjoyed being with you, but I just don't think there's something there. But if there's a problematic behavior, you just leave. It's okay to say no, you know. You were discarded for a huge woman. Oh, a huge house. Okay, I got you. More of her to love? What? Oh, no, never mind. I'm reading that wrong. Okay. It took you 5 years to sort things out. Well, and that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid it's going to take me 5 years, right? Because you got 20 years of the same person. And these narcs, they get under your skin, you know? So that's pretty tough. So what I've done is I've purposely set out to shrink that time frame, right? And what I've done is I've done NLP. That helped a lot, actually. I did YouTube videos, probably on average. Now, some of the weekends I would binge watch YouTube videos, just like we used to do with Netflix, right? Instead of watching Netflix, I remember I was paying on my Netflix and I hadn't watched a movie in like 6 months. I mean, I was just basically watching YouTube videos over and over and over again. Well, I mean, new ones, but some of the good ones I'd watch over again to re-get the concepts, to reintroduce the concepts. And some of the ones I really liked that ASSC Direct. There's a new one right now, if you guys haven't heard it, by IHG Tutor. His subscription rate's just going through the roof. And Randy Andretti told me about him. It's called Knowing the Narcissist. And he's written a few books, but even the voice that he does it in is kind of like, it almost sounds kind of sinister, like it's almost dramatic. This is H.G. Wells. You are the victim, and I am the narcissist, and my kind wants you. It's really cool, okay? And his videos are very informative. Like, you can really, like, they're right on point, too. HG Tutor. So if you go to Knowing the Narcissist on YouTube, if you type in Knowing the Narcissist here, let me just type it in here. I'm not driving. I can actually, for those of you who know me, you know that I drive a lot. I was making a lot of videos driving. I'm not doing that as much anymore. It's kind of dangerous, you know. Knock on wood. So Knowing the Narcissist is the name of the channel. Thank you, Randy Andretti. Yep, there it is. So I think I think he had like 800 subscribers back about a month ago, and now he's got like 3,000. So it's a very good channel. Um, if you really want to know how these people think, it's right on target. I get goosebumps just thinking about it, how accurate he is. Another one that's really good is ASSC Direct. I'm subscribed to that one. Excuse me. I like CNXG, Crazy Narcissist Ex-Girlfriend. He's made a few, hasn't made enough yet. But some of these people are like family, right? Of course, Richard Grannon, Dana. Now, I listened a lot to Dana when I first got into this whole thing, and I like her live streams too because she's very interactive like that. And Dana helped me a lot. I mean, Dana probably helped me the most on those. Lisa Romano has made a really good. The last couple of videos she's made are just incredible. I think hers, one of the ones that she just had, I've listened to probably about 3 times, and it's a 25-minute video. Maybe it was an older one. Yeah, we're all like family, right? And of course, I listen to Randy Andretti, and Randy is a girl in Michigan, and I grew up in Michigan. So when I went back to Michigan, I hooked up with Randy. We got together for some drinks, and actually she drank, and I had Sprite or whatever because I don't drink. But we got together, and she's got a really cool channel too. It's just about dating and all the dates that she's been on, and she's not afraid to state her opinions, which I really like. That's one of the things that I think a lot of us as empaths have a problem is being more assertive. I don't say it's a problem, but it's something that, a skill we need to develop more. And she was a great person to listen to on that. I'm looking at my channels here. Oh, and Serena Nightshade, Seerena, Nightshade. Melanie Tanya Evans, yes. When I first listened to Melanie Tanya Evans, I didn't like her, and because I think it was when I was first exploring all this, like it was new to me. Dana had the most welcoming, soft. She wasn't like giddy or happy. Where Melanie Tanya Evans sounds just like she's just happy. Which now I can listen to her and I get it, and I actually enjoy Melanie Tanya Evans now because she comes across so happy and just and she says that the narcissists are angels in disguise. They're aids. They aid us in discovering ourselves. And she's like, it's a blessing they were there, and yada yada. When I first heard that like a couple of years ago, I was like, get me away from this person, right? But I actually really like her stuff now. There's not anybody that I really don't like. There's a few new YouTubers that I've listened to that I feel like they're stuck. Like they keep saying the same thing over and over again, like in different ways, and I kind of feel bad for them. But I don't really subscribe to them as much anymore, and I don't think their viewership really grows either. I mean, you kind of see people. You kind of see when excuse me, when people grow. So, and there's other Actualized.org is another channel that I like. That is not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily pertains to narcissism, but there's a lot of things in there that relate to empaths and people of all kind, as they would say. Oh, Self-Care Haven, I like her. She's actually written a couple books. And these are people that are recent, right? Because some of the people that I had on a year ago aren't even on there. Oh, and how can I forget her? From Surviving to Thriving. From Surviving to Thriving. She has some, You know, I feel like I know a lot of these people because they've told me their story. So I'm reading your comments here. Oh yeah, Randy does talk about more than dating. Randy, okay, so I'm in the dating mode right now, right? So that's why I'm talking about dating. But Randy has videos that go back I think 3 or 4 years. So she talks about a lot of different things. Um, and yeah, so Mark on family tree counseling. I've listened to him before. He's got a pretty incredible story too. So, I think that's what draws us in, right? The people with the stories, the people that are willing to share their things out there, right? Because, I mean, this is an open public space, right? Um, but I thought it was the best thing to do just to get it out there, just so other people could relate. This helps me heal too, because I get to express myself and I get the feedback. And I would, if you're watching this and you've never been on Facebook as far as like video, audio, video, just like I am now, or you've never been on YouTube, which is a lot harder to live stream. But if you've never made a video, I would encourage you to do that, because that was one of the things that really got me out of my shell. There was a lot of fears, right? Because when we're around these people, they have a fear-based mentality. They have a fear-based aura about them, because a narcissist is running with an ego, and the way the ego works is it works with fear. If you go back to what makes the ego take over things and get us away from our heart, is the fear, right? So, and that's how a narcissist kind of runs things. So a lot of people have a fear of public speaking, and this is kind of related to public speaking, but what this allows you to do is to get outside of yourself and get some feedback, get some validation. Now, it's going to come from strangers and people that you may not know as well, although I know quite a few of you on here. I've seen you before in the last couple of years. Again, we have a family, but I can say that even the feedback from strangers, I believe that sometimes you can get really great hitting feedback from a lot of strangers out there that end up maybe becoming family, because they don't have a vested interest in you. They're not your sister, your brother, your father, mother, and they're not trying to sugarcoat things or whatever. A lot of people are just trying to help other people, because we have that empathy thing, right? They're trying to help other people kind of get where they are, right? And so if I get outside of myself, I don't maybe feel sorry for myself. If I try to help somebody else who's maybe going through what I went through 6 months ago, then I can kind of like give them hope, because, hey, I'm here now talking to you, and it's not as bad as what you think. It's in your head, all that kind of good stuff when in these health and support groups. Um, I would recommend anybody, hopefully everybody here has a support group that they can go to online. And Facebook is a great platform for that, because you can get into secret groups, you can get into private groups. I've started a few and done things like that. But I would highly recommend anybody get into. There's several narcissist support groups out there. Dana has one that's good, and there's a few secret ones too for people that don't want to have their um, name exposed to being in any of these groups. Yeah, and I mean, for me, making the videos helped. So, what are we up to? 23 minutes here. Yeah, and I'm just reading what Gene says. Fear factor, panic attacks, can't do it. And I understand. I mean, there's different things for different people. Um, one of the things that knowing the narcissist said, and IHG Tutor puts in his books, is that he says there's codependence, codependence, and then there's like a spectrum, right? A continuum. There's codependence on one end, and then you have empaths, and then you have super empaths. And super empaths, the people over here, the super empaths know actually they have some narcissism in them, and they can really come back and really injure, and I mean mentally and emotionally, they can really injure the narcissist. They just don't take attacks real well. And I found that more and more that I looked, that I was like a super empath. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm super or I'm good or whatever. I'm just trying to say that if you haven't thought of that yet, if you haven't, there's different levels of narcissist, right? There's and this is according to IHG Tutor. And I like Sam Vaknin too. His stuff was a little bit more advanced when I first listened to it. Now I can listen to it a little bit more. He talks about supply. IHG Tutor talks about fuel, but he says there's different types of narcissists. There's low level, mid range, and then the highest one. And then you have for empaths, you have, like I just mentioned, you have the codependents, and you have the empath, and then you have the super empath. And I'm a super empath that I found because I had to fight back. I don't know if a lot of you had to do that, but I went no contact, but I used it in a way that was almost like a weapon, right? I don't know if that was the right thing to do, but um, and of course I started to take care of myself better. But and I read Sam Vaknin's book. I read about half of it, and he says the book title in almost every one of his videos, and I can't remember for the life of me what the title is. But so yeah, so all of us are at different stages, right? I think if you've got, don't try to do it too fast. That's one thing that and I waited too. I waited to date. Now I tried about a year ago on these Plenty of Fish sites to and the other one, OkCupid, and I actually set up some coffee dates, and I was scared. I was just not ready for it. I thought I was ready, but I really wasn't. And I'm glad I waited, because now it's just like riding a bicycle. It's something new to me, right? But once I know how to do it, it's just kind of it's like the dating thing used to be a big part of my life, right? Like, oh my gosh, how am I ever going to date anybody ever again? They're going to judge me, and they're going to want to be with me, and then once I went out on a couple dates, it's like it's not as big of a deal. Like, it's not an integral part of my life. Now, I wouldn't mind dating, but I don't have to date. I don't feel like I'm missing out, is what I'm saying. Because being alone, I'm telling you, being alone and working on myself is much better than the devaluation stage with a narcissist. Oh my gosh, that was awful. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. We're looking right under the 28-minute mark. So I appreciate you guys listening to my first live stream. I'm very tired. I've been on a New Year's kick. I'm working out, and the New Year's kick is kicking my little tail, my big tail, and I want to get into a little tail, I'm saying. So, but I enjoy, I'm glad I'm on YouTube. I enjoy the feedback that I get. Your comments, I read all of them. I get notifications on my phone. I don't always respond to them, and I probably should, but I do read every single comment, just so you guys know. So, if you guys make a video, shoot me a message and say, hey, I just started my channel, and post a link in my thing. I'm good with that. I want to get to know the community, and there's a lot more of us now than I think the narcs realize. I think there's something that started here a few years ago with the internet and people becoming more open about things, and there's a pattern here that we can all see. I think that the narcissist days are numbered. They can't really hide as much anymore like they used to. People talk, and on the internet, people can talk at the speed of nanoseconds. I don't know. They can talk really fast now. They can share ideas on Twitter. They can share thousands of a tweet can be shared with a couple million people at once. So, Josh, alone time is good. It really is. If I could talk to the animals, talk to the animals. Yeah, I love dogs. I'm a dog person. When I met my narc, she had a cat. Ooh, and I'm not saying cats are, I'm just saying cats look like this or like, whatever. Cats don't really care about you. Dogs, they love you when you leave. They love you. They love being with you when you get home, when you walk in the door 5 minutes later. They love you the same again, you know? I love dogs. So anyways, guys, well, I'm over the 30-minute mark. I thought I would make a little thing here for you. So I'm going to wrap it up. I don't know how to put my little thing in here with what my channel does. So let me try it here. Let's try this. If I do this, see if I put a scene in here. Can I drag this like this? There we go. Did you guys see that? I don't know how that worked. Did you guys see my little video thing? Okay. I'm going to let you guys go. I love you. Thanks for hanging with me, and we'll see you later.